She told me, "My work husband and I cuddle sometimes. It's platonic. If you don't get it, that's your issue." I said, "You're right." The next morning, I canceled every reservation and gift for her birthday weekend. That night, she arrived with her friends and found out the table was canceled under reason no longer needed. She broke down crying in front of everyone. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. If you looked at my Google Calendar 2 weeks ago, you would have seen an entry titled Operation 30. It was my girlfriend Maya's 30th birthday weekend, and I had spent 3 months curating it with the precision of a military strike. I'm a project manager by trade, and I treat my relationships with the same level of dedication I give my career. I don't do half measures. Maya had been hinting for months that she wanted a princess treatment birthday, something that would look good on Instagram and feel expensive in real life. I delivered. The itinerary was locked. Friday night at the Vane, the hardest reservation to get in the city. I had to call in a favor with a client just to get a table for 6. Saturday was a full-day spa package for her and her best friend, Sarah, followed by a surprise overnight stay at a boutique hotel downtown. Sunday was brunch. Total cost? Somewhere north of $4,000. I didn't care about the money. I loved her. I wanted her to feel valued. But while I was securing reservations, Maya was securing an emotional connection with Gavin. Gavin was the work husband. It started subtly, as these things always do. 6 months ago, he was just the new guy in marketing who doesn't know how to use Excel. Then he became Gavin who brings me coffee. Then, Gavin who really understands the pressure of this industry. I'm not a jealous man by nature. I have female friends. I understand workplace camaraderie. But the boundaries started eroding in ways that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Texts started coming in at 10:30 p.m. Work emergency, I'd ask, glancing at her phone lighting up the nightstand. No, she'd say, not looking up, her thumbs flying across the screen. Gavin's just sending me memes. He's going through a rough patch with his girlfriend. He needs support. And he needs that support from you? At midnight. She would sigh, that heavy, theatrical sigh she used whenever I questioned her. He's sensitive, Mark. He's not like you. He doesn't repress things. We have a connection. It's purely intellectual and emotional. Why do you always have to sexualize everything? That was her favorite defense, the therapy weaponization. Maya consumed hours of TikTok therapy content and learned just enough terminology to twist every situation into a failing on my part. If I asked for basic respect, I was controlling. If I expressed discomfort with another man taking her to lunch 3 times a week, I was insecure and projecting my toxic masculinity onto her safe space. I tried to be the bigger man. I told myself I was the one she came home to. I was the one paying the mortgage. I was the one planning Operation 30. Gavin was just a phase, a needy coworker she felt sorry for. I was wrong. He wasn't a phase. He was a replacement waiting in the wings. The dynamic shifted 3 days before her birthday. I had just picked up her gift, a vintage necklace she'd circled in a catalog 6 months ago, when I came home to find her on the balcony. She was on the phone. Her voice dropped to that hush-hush whisper people use when they're sharing secrets. When the sliding door clicked shut behind me, she jumped. She hung up immediately. Who was that? I asked, putting the gift bag in the closet. Just Gavin, she said. She looked flushed. He's having a crisis. He seems to have a crisis every time I'm not in the room, I said. My patience was fraying. You wouldn't understand, she snapped, walking past me to the kitchen. You're so emotionally rigid. Gavin feels things deeply. He just needs to know someone is in his corner. I let it go. I didn't want to ruin the birthday week with a fight. I told myself to just get through the weekend, give her the perfect experience, and maybe then, once she felt celebrated and loved, we could have a real conversation about boundaries. I was an idiot. It happened on a Tuesday. I was in the kitchen making risotto. Maya was sitting at the island, sipping a glass of wine I'd poured for her, staring at her phone with a soft, private smile that I hadn't seen directed at me in months. How was work? I asked, stirring the rice. Intense, she said, not looking up. Gavin had a panic attack in the break room around 2. Is he okay? I asked, trying to feign sympathy. He is now, she said. She finally put the phone down and looked at me, her expression challenging, like she was daring me to react. I stayed with him. We went into the quiet room in the back office. I turned the lights off, and we just laid on the couch and cuddled for like an hour until his breathing regulated. I stopped stirring. The wooden spoon hovered over the pan. The kitchen suddenly felt very quiet. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice steady, though my heart rate had just spiked through the roof. "Did you say you cuddled him? On a couch? In the dark?" She rolled her eyes, taking a sip of wine. "Oh my God, here we go?" "Yes, Mark. We cuddled. It's called co-regulation. It's a somatic technique to help lower someone's cortisol levels." It was completely platonic. I turned the burner off. I turned around to face her. "Maya, you are a 30-year-old woman in a committed relationship. You spent an hour lying in the dark in the arms of another man at your workplace. You don't see an issue with that?" "No, I don't," she shot back, her voice rising. "Because I'm an adult who understands that touch is a basic human need." Gavin was in distress. I provided comfort. It wasn't sexual. He didn't try anything, and neither did I. We just held each other. "And if I did that?" I asked quietly. "If I told you I spent my afternoon spooning the new intern because she was stressed out, you'd be okay with that?" She scoffed. "That's different. Men always make it sexual. With you, it would be predatory. With me and Gavin, it was spiritual. We have a soul connection, Mark. Honestly, I feel safer with him emotionally than I do with you half the time because he doesn't judge me." She stood up, walking around the island to stand in front of me. She looked at me with genuine pity, as if I were a primitive creature unable to grasp her evolved state of being. "My work husband and I cuddle sometimes," she said, enunciating every word. "It's platonic. It's harmless. If you don't get it, if you're too insecure to handle me providing emotional support to a friend, then that's your issue. It's something you need to fix in therapy. I'm not going to shrink myself or my capacity for love just to soothe your ego." I looked at her. I looked at the woman I had spent 3 years building a life with. I thought about the ring I had hidden in the safe deposit box, the one I was planning to propose with next year. I thought about the $4,000 currently pinning on my credit card for her birthday weekend. And then I felt it. It wasn't anger. It wasn't sadness. It was the sensation of a heavy weight simply vanishing. It was the click of a lock disengaging. I realized, in that exact moment, that she didn't respect me. She didn't even fear losing me. She was so confident in her control over me, so certain that I was this safe option who would pay the bills while Gavin provided the spark, that she felt comfortable telling me to my face that she was intimate with another man. She was waiting for me to beg. She was waiting for me to yell so she could call me abusive. She was waiting for me to apologize for being jealous. I took a breath. I picked up the wine bottle and topped off her glass. "You know what?" I said. My voice was calm. It was the voice I used when firing a contractor who had violated safety protocols. "You're right." She blinked. The smug lecture died on her lips. She looked confused. "I am." "Yeah," I said. "I've been looking at this all wrong. You're an autonomous person. If that's what you need to do to support your friend, who am I to police that?" It was insecure of me to question your judgment. A slow, victorious smile spread across her face. She thought she had broken me. She thought she had trained me. "Thank you, Mark," she said, reaching out to touch my arm. "I knew you'd get there eventually. It really means a lot that you're doing the work to be better for me." "I am," I said, smiling back. "I'm really seeing things clearly now." "Good," she said, turning back to her phone. "Gavin will be so relieved. He was worried you'd freak out." "Tell him not to worry," I said, turning back to the stove. "I'm not freaking out at all." I wasn't. I was calculating. I served dinner. I asked about her day. I listened to her talk about how excited she was for Friday, how she had told all the girls that I was taking them to the vein, how she couldn't wait to see what I had planned for the rest of the weekend. "It's going to be unforgettable," I told her. When we went to bed that night, she turned her back to me, texting Gavin goodnight. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling. At 7 a.m. the next morning, she left for work. She kissed me on the cheek, breezy and happy, convinced she had the perfect boyfriend and the perfect side piece. "Love you," she said. "Don't forget to pick up the dry cleaning for Friday." "I won't," I said. The moment the door clicked shut, I got out of bed. I didn't go to work. I went to the kitchen table, opened my laptop, and pulled up the spreadsheet titled Operation 30. I picked up my phone. I dialed the restaurant first. "Good morning," I said when the hostess answered. I have a reservation for 6 this Friday under Mark Miller. I need to cancel it. Of course, sir, she said. Would you like to reschedule? No, I said. But I have a specific request. My ex-girlfriend doesn't know it's canceled yet. She might still show up. Can you make sure the cancellation note is in the system? Certainly. Is there a specific reason code you want us to log? Yes, I said. Put it down as reason, service no longer needed. Service no longer needed? She repeated, sounding confused. That's the one, I said. Make sure it's on the screen if she asks. Okay, consider it done. Thank you. I hung up. Then I called the spa. Then the hotel. Then the florist. Then I called the boutique where I'd bought the necklace and asked about their return policy. By noon, I had erased her birthday. By 2 p.m., I had packed my clothes, my electronics, and my documents into my car. By 4 p.m., I was gone. I left nothing behind but the spare key on the counter and the echo of her telling me that her betrayal was my issue. She was right. It was my issue, and I had just solved it. I spent Friday afternoon in a state of unnatural calm. I had checked into a corporate suite hotel on the other side of the city, a place generic enough to be untraceable, comfortable enough to work from. My phone was on the coffee table, face up. I hadn't blocked her number yet. I needed the confirmation. I needed to know the message had been received. Around 4 p.m., Maya texted me. Leaving work now. Going straight to Sarah's to get ready. Can you bring that red tie I like? The one that matches my dress? See you at 7:30. Love you. Hugs and kisses. I stared at the screen. The audacity was almost impressive. Less than 72 hours ago, she had told me my feelings were a psychological defect she shouldn't have to deal with. Now, she was ordering accessories for her big night out, fully expecting me to play the role of the doting boyfriend, the wallet, and the prop. I didn't reply. At 6 p.m., another text. Hey, just checking in. Are you on your way? Traffic is crazy. I took a sip of the bourbon I'd poured myself. I wasn't on my way. I was watching a documentary about deep-sea shipwrecks. I felt a kinship with the ocean floor, cold, pressurized, and silent. At 7:15 p.m., the group chat, which included Maya, Sarah, and 2 other friends, Jen and Chloe, lit up. Sarah sent a photo, a selfie of the 4 of them in the Uber. Maya looked stunning in a black silk dress I had bought her for Christmas. She was beaming, holding a glass of champagne, looking like the queen of the world. Caption, birthday queen en route. At Mark, where are you? We're thirsty. I felt a phantom twinge of guilt, a muscle memory of my old self, the nice guy, Mark, who would have panicked at being late. But then I remembered Gavin. I remembered the cuddle. I remembered reason, no longer needed. The guilt evaporated. At 7:28 p.m., my phone buzzed again. Maya, we're at the bar. The hostess says our table isn't ready yet. I thought you pulled strings with the manager. I leaned forward. The show was starting. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. The next 20 minutes played out through my notification screen like a slow-motion car crash. 7:35 p.m. Maya, Mark? Where are you? The hostess is acting really weird. She keeps checking the computer and looking at us. 7:38 p.m. Sarah, text, Mark, you need to get here. Maya is getting stressed. This isn't funny. 7:40 p.m. Missed call from Maya. 7:41 p.m. Missed call from Maya. 7:42 p.m. Missed call from Sarah. I could visualize the scene perfectly. The ambient noise of the vein, clinking silverware, low jazz, the murmur of the city's elite. Maya standing at the host's stand, her smile faltering, her friends shifting uncomfortably in their heels behind her. The hostess, a young woman probably terrified of ruining a birthday, but bound by the notes on her screen. Then came the text that told me the bomb had detonated. 7:45 p.m. Maya, what the fuck, Mark? 7:46 p.m. Maya, they said you canceled. They said you canceled everything. 7:47 p.m. Maya, service no longer needed? Are you insane? Everyone is staring at us. Pick up the phone right now. My phone began to vibrate continuously. It wasn't just a ring, it was a seizure. She was panic calling. I let it go to voicemail. I could see it. The host is finally turning the screen around or reading the note aloud because Maya refused to believe it. Reason, service no longer needed. The brutality of it was specific. It wasn't family emergency. It wasn't illness. It was a transactional dismissal. It reduced our 3-year relationship to a subscription I had decided to unsubscribe from. And the worst part for her? Her friends saw it. Sarah, Jen, Chloe, the women she had undoubtedly bragged to about how well she had me trained, witnessed her being discarded like an expired coupon. 7:55 p.m. Voicemail from Maya, transcribed. Background noise is chaotic. Sounds of traffic. She's outside. Mark. Sobbing, Mark, pick up. I don't understand. We're outside. They wouldn't seat us. They said the card on file was removed. Sarah had to pay for the drinks at the bar, and it was like $80, and it was so embarrassing. Where are you? Are you at the apartment? I'm coming home. We need to talk about this. You can't just do this to me on my birthday. She still didn't get it. She thought this was a fight. She thought this was a tantrum she could manage. 8:10 p.m. Sarah, text, Mark, that was incredibly cruel. Maya is hyperventilating. Whatever is going on, you don't do this to someone publicly. Be a man and answer your phone. I finally typed a response. Not to Maya. To Sarah. Me. Ask her about Gavin. Ask her about the break room. Then tell me who isn't being a man. I put the phone back down. 8:30 p.m. Maya. I'm at the apartment. Mark, where's your stuff? The realization phase. She had rushed home to confront me, probably ready to scream and cry and manipulate me back into submission. Instead, she walked into a ghost town. I had been efficient. My clothes were gone. My toiletries, my laptop, my gaming console, my documents. I had even taken the coffee maker I bought before we moved in. The apartment wasn't empty. Her stuff was everywhere, but I was erased. The space where I used to be was just air. 8:35 p.m. Maya. You moved out? Are you serious? Over a cuddle? Mark, this is psychotic. You are blowing this way out of proportion. 8:40 p.m. Maya. Please come back. I'm scared. I don't want to be alone tonight. 8:45 p.m. Maya. Gavin is just a friend. I'll block him if that's what you want. Just come home. It was textbook. First, attack the reaction, you're psychotic. Then, play the victim, I'm scared. Finally, the desperate bargaining, I'll block him. But she missed the point. I didn't care if she blocked Gavin. Gavin wasn't the problem. The problem was that she looked at me, saw my pain, and told me it was my defect. She had broken the fundamental contract of our relationship. I protect you. You respect me. I scrolled through the messages, feeling lighter. For months, I had walked on eggshells, trying to be the modern, evolved partner she wanted, suppressing my gut instincts to avoid being labeled toxic. Now, I was the villain in her story. And God, it felt good. 9 p.m. Maya, fine. Ignore me. But you owe me for the hotel and the spa. You promised me this weekend. 9:15 p.m. Me. I promised my girlfriend a birthday weekend. But she checked out on Tuesday to be single with her work husband. I just finalized the paperwork. Enjoy the platonic silence. It's soothing, isn't it? 9:16 p.m. Maya. I hate you. 9:20 p.m. Me. You're right. I blocked her number. Then I blocked Sarah. Then I blocked Jen and Chloe. Then I opened the food delivery app and ordered a pizza from the place she always said was too greasy. I slept like a baby. The next morning, I woke up to a notification from Instagram. I hadn't blocked her there yet. She had posted a story at 2 a.m. A black screen with small white text. The betrayal you never see coming hurts the most. Hashtag heartbroken, hashtag narcissist. I laughed out loud. She was already spinning the narrative. She was the victim. I was the monster who ruined her birthday for no reason. But I knew something she didn't. I knew about the karma that was about to hit her on Monday morning. Because while she was crying on the sidewalk outside the vein, I had sent one final email. Not to her. To Gavin's wife. I didn't just leave Maya. I removed the structural integrity of her life. Monday morning arrived. While I was settling into a temporary workspace at a WeWork, sipping a coffee I actually enjoyed, Maya was walking into the office expecting sympathy. She probably thought she could lean on Gavin, cry about her psychotic ex-boyfriend, and get another one of those platonic cuddling sessions. She didn't know I had sent the email on Saturday night. I had found Gavin's wife, Jessica, on Facebook easily enough. My message to her was short, factual, and devoid of emotion. Subject, Tuesday afternoon. Hi Jessica. I'm Mark, Maya's now ex-boyfriend. Maya told me that she and Gavin spent an hour cuddling in the dark in the break room last Tuesday for emotional regulation. She insisted this was normal and platonic. I disagreed, so I ended the relationship. I figured you deserve to know how your husband spends his afternoons, just in case you don't share their definition of platonic. Best, Mark. The fallout was nuclear. I learned the details later through a mutual friend, Dave, who still worked in their building. Apparently, Gavin didn't fight for Maya. He didn't leave his wife for his soulmate. He didn't stand tall and defend their spiritual connection. Gavin panicked. When Jessica confronted him, Gavin threw Maya directly under the bus. He claimed Maya was obsessed with him. He claimed she was the one cornering him, that he was uncomfortable but didn't know how to say no because of office politics. To save his marriage and his job, Gavin went to HR first. By the time Maya got to her desk on Monday, she wasn't greeted by a sympathetic work husband. She was greeted by a meeting invite from the Director of Human Resources. Gavin had filed a formal complaint against her for inappropriate workplace conduct and creating a hostile environment. She was placed on administrative leave pending an investigation. That afternoon, I received an email from Maya's work address since I had blocked her personal accounts. From Maya, corporate email, subject, "You ruined my life. Are you happy? Gavin isn't speaking to me. HR escorted me out of the building. Jessica called me a whore. You didn't just break up with me. You destroyed my reputation. I lost my boyfriend, my best friend, and probably my job in 48 hours. How could you be this vindictive? I thought you loved me." I didn't reply. I moved the email to the trash. The silence was my answer. I wasn't vindictive. I was a mirror. I simply let the light shine on the reality she had created. She wanted Gavin. She got the real Gavin, a coward who used her for an ego boost and discarded her the moment it became inconvenient. Over the next 2 months, the updates trickled in from the few friends I hadn't blocked. Maya was fired. Mutual separation, they called it. Her friends, the ones who saw they no longer needed screen, distanced themselves. It's hard to defend a woman who cheats on the guy paying for her birthday, then gets fired for harassment. She had to move out of our apartment because she couldn't afford the rent on her own. She was back with her parents in the suburbs, a 45-minute commute from the city she loved. I, on the other hand, was doing just fine. My bank account was recovering nicely without the princess weekends. I was sleeping 8 hours a night. I met someone new, Elena. She was a nurse. On our third date, she told me, "I value direct communication and loyalty." It felt like breathing fresh air after drowning for 3 years. 5 months later, I ran into her. It was inevitable. We lived in the same city, and despite her move to the suburbs, she still came downtown for interviews. I was at a coffee shop near my new apartment, waiting for a pour-over. I looked great. I'd lost 10 pounds of stress weight, got a better haircut, and was wearing a tailored coat I'd bought with the money I saved from the canceled birthday trip. "Mark," I turned. Maya looked tired. That's the only word for it. The main character energy she used to radiate was gone. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun. Her blazer looked slightly too large, and she had the frantic, exhausted look of someone constantly trying to explain themselves. "Hello, Maya," I said. My voice was polite, professional, like I was greeting a former vendor I no longer did business with. She stood there, clutching her purse. She looked at my coat, my calm demeanor, the lack of anger in my eyes. "You look good," she said quietly. "I am good," I replied. "I'm doing really well." She let out a shaky breath. "I miss you, Mark. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But the punishment, it didn't fit the crime. I lost everything." "You didn't lose everything," I corrected her gently. "You lost the things you didn't appreciate. Gavin was a mistake," she rushed on, her eyes filling with tears. "He was a predator. He used me. I see that now. I was looking for validation, and I looked in the wrong place. But we had 3 years, Mark. Doesn't that mean anything? Can't we just sit down and talk? I can fix this." People were starting to look. The old Mark would have been embarrassed. The old Mark would have taken her outside, offered her a tissue, and listened to her spin her web. The new Mark just checked his watch. "Maya," I said, "do you remember what you told me in the kitchen? You said if I didn't understand your needs, that was my issue." She flinched. I was angry. "I didn't mean it." "You did mean it," I said. "And you were right. It was my issue. I had an issue with being disrespected. I had an issue with being a backup plan. I had an issue with funding a lifestyle for a woman who was emotionally intimate with someone else. I stepped closer, keeping my voice low and firm. So I fixed the issue. I removed myself from the equation. And looking at you now, looking at how chaotic your life became the moment I stopped holding it together for you, I realized I wasn't your partner. I was your logistics manager. And I resigned. Mark, please, she whispered, a tear rolling down her cheek. I'm sorry. I love you. I looked at her. I searched for any feeling, anger, love, pity. There was nothing. Just a dull recognition of a stranger. I don't think you know what that word means, I said. The barista called my name. Order for Mark. I turned away from her, walked to the counter, and grabbed my coffee. I didn't look back. As I pushed open the glass door and stepped out into the crisp autumn air, I could feel her eyes on my back, but I didn't care. I had a date with Elena tonight. We were cooking dinner. No reservations, no drama, no cancellations. Service was no longer needed. And for the first time in my life, I was finally completely free. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.